We've all been there, that moment when you're in the middle of a conversation with a stranger or acquaintance and you sneak in a mention of your aquarium. You're hoping that maybe, just maybe, this mention of a fish tank might spark something of a commonality with the other person. That maybe you'll find a kindred spirit, a lifelong friend who understands. But then you're let down again, disappointed to find that this obsession you have isn't reciprocated. It's fine, you tell yourself, I'll try again with the next person. But sometimes the person bites and shows genuine interest. Maybe they don't keep aquariums themselves, but they ask you about yours. You take a breath and you dive in the deep end, immediately beginning to explain the fascinating breeding behaviors of gourami bubble nests, the featherfin tricksters, or the parasitic breeding habits of Synodontis catfish. Maybe you describe the intricate relationship between micro and macronutrients that keep your planted tank in perfect balance. Or maybe you're the cichlid keeper, the kind who likes fish with personality, fish that make you secretly glad they can't leave the tank because you just know you'd be victim number one in their killing spree. Somewhere in the middle of all this, you notice that glazed look come across their face. And you can't quite figure out where you lost them, but you know you did. And then, when you finally stop talking, they get that small, polite smile and ask the question, the one you never quite know how to answer. But why? Why do you keep fish? I've tried to answer that question more times than I can count, and I've come up with more answers than I can count. One thing I know for sure is that I can't answer this question for you, but there are certain themes that run deep within all of us that we can all relate to. So let me, once again, answer this question for me, and then I want to hear your thoughts. First, I want to tell you a story about another insanity that no one understands, but that parallels the aquarium hobby in some very interesting ways. On March 6, 2015, I woke up before some people even went to bed and headed to a parking lot just north of Corolla, North Carolina, the most northern city on the barrier islands of the Outer Banks. I had a pack full of food and hydration, a fully charged GPS watch, and lightly worn running shoes. When I arrived, there were a little over 100 people there, all carrying similar supplies and all of us buzzing with the same nervous energy. It was dark, a little chilly, and the lighthouse overhead spun endlessly. A reminder that we were close to the ocean, standing on the precipice of something vast, something that felt like an endless abyss. We were all there for the same reason. That day, I planned to run from Corolla to the southernmost tip of Cape Hatteras, to the aptly named Graveyard of the Atlantic Museum, 102 miles away. The race began, and we headed south. The first 25 miles were filled with excitement, that early race energy where your body feels invincible. Then boredom set in as I tried to figure out how to occupy my mind for the long hours ahead. Around mile 40, soreness began to creep in, followed by nerves and doubt. Then, somewhere past the 100-kilometer mark, I came out of an aid station with a slice of cold pizza in hand, watching the sun set over the sound, wondering what the darkness in the next 40 miles would bring. What it brought was despair, pain and suffering I had never experienced before, fatigue and exhaustion so deep that I struggled just to maintain forward momentum. But even through that, I refused to give up. Then came hope, the lighthouse in the distance, marking the final aid station. With every ounce of determination I had left, I trudged forward, slowly, painfully making my way through the beach towns of Hatteras. And as the sun began to rise, I finally saw the flags marking the finish line, 25 hours after I began. Then, coming full circle, I felt joy. You think people look at you funny when you talk about aquariums? Try telling that story. Nobody even hides their disbelief. They don't hold back from asking why. When I ran that race, it was during a time of deep uncertainty in my life. I was dealing with a lot of stress, anxiety, and a lot of depression. The funny thing about depression is that people often describe it as sadness, but that's not what it feels like to me. Not really. Over the years, I've come to describe depression as numbness, the inability to feel anything or the inability to interpret what I'm feeling. The beautiful thing about running a 100-mile race is that it shatters that numbness. It's an emotional roller coaster that forces you to feel everything. The excitement of the start, the despair of the night, the hope of the dawn, it fills you with pure joy of being alive. T.S. Eliot once said, "Only those who risk going too far can find how far one can go." That day, I found out just how far I could go and just how alive I could feel. So what does running 100 miles have to do with keeping fish? 102 miles, actually. Don't forget that other 2. Honestly, everything. Every day we wake up, we go to work, we do our chores, we take care of our commitments, we move through the monotony of life, and in order to survive it all, we throttle our emotions. We keep things steady, manageable, and safe. We build walls, not because we want to, but because that's how we get through the day. We become numb, and we walk through life with eyes closed. But then you come home. You walk into the room with your aquarium, and suddenly the world feels alive again. You see the underwater world that you've built, the beautiful animals craving your attention. You watch snails climbing through the underbrush of your planted aquarium, shrimp grazing over driftwood, fish darting in and out of shadow and light. You're filled with wonder and awe, and suddenly you feel everything again. But it's not just peace and beauty, is it? Because aquariums aren't just controlled environments, they're living environments, and living things never stay completely under control. I'm not suggesting that it's only the good moments that we crave to escape. There are bad moments as well. Nature has its own rules, algae blooms, filters breaking, fish get sick, tanks leak. There's chaos in it all, but that's the point. Because maybe what we most love about our aquariums isn't that they're controlled, it's that they help us feel again. Just like a marathon, we have the chance to feel it all, and by so doing, feel alive again. They wake us from a dead, waking slumber and help us feel alive again. Not by hiding our emotions, but by bringing them to our undeniable awareness. You are alive, you hurt, and that's a good thing. They remind us that life is unpredictable, but still beautiful. That perfection isn't the goal, balance is. And maybe that's why this hobby resonates so deeply. It's a small slice of chaos that we choose to live with, nurture, and care for, because it reflects something true about being human. I don't know all the whys behind what I do, but I do know this. In this place, surrounded by the quiet hum of filters and the shimmering of light through water, I feel everything. Here I remember that I am alive, and for a while, the depression dies, at least for now. So why do you do this? What do you feel when you sit in front of your tank? That little world that no one else can quite understand. Leave your thoughts below, connect with each other, and remind one another that this hobby, this strange, wonderful, frustrating, and beautiful thing is about feeling alive. If you like this video, then I have a whole playlist of very similar philosophical deep dives into the aquarium that you might enjoy, so go check those out. And I really appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Wishlist out.